Okay, well, good day, guys. Welcome back to the channel. There is 8 rounds gone now in the NRL. This weekend will be round number 9, and then next week is Magic Round, so a lot to look forward to. In round number 10, I will be doing my 200th NRL vlog, which will be the Eels versus the Bronco. Don't forget, I will include the link in the description. Merch for Vlog 200 officially. The Journey to Vlog 200 merch is still out, and 20% off until Tuesday midnight on the website as well. But in this video, we're going to be predicting the entire NRL ladder. Now, I've seen a lot of people predict via the NRLladder.com, which is pretty cool because it lets you decide your final series as well. I think I'll do final series, that sort of stuff later as we get into it and see more defense, things like that. But I've actually got this website here, which is rugbyleagueproject.org. And what it allows you to do is it actually allows you to pick the score for every game of the season, and then it decides your ladder based off that. So let's get into it. And obviously some of these picks will be absolutely outrageous, but I'll go with it anyway. So let's go with the Rabbitohs 12 to the Panthers 30 points. We are going to take Manly 13 plus over the struggling Raiders, and I just don't think the Raiders have many points in. I'm going to go 32 to 10 there. Broncos Roosters, this will be a tight game. I'll go the Broncos 26 to the Roosters 20. Bulldogs 26. West Tigers 16. Could be a good contest. I think the Titans get brought back to earth here a little bit after a nice win in New Zealand against Melbourne at home. Cowboys Dolphins, interesting. I'm going to go the Cowboys to win 32 to 10, same as that Manly Raiders game. Knights and the Warriors, very close-ish game. This one could be very low scoring as well, but I'll go Warriors 26 to 16 again. And Sharks and Dragons, that's a game I'm looking forward to, but the Sharks look so red hot right now, so I'm going to go the Sharks to win 26 points to 26 to 16. I'm going to go again. So that's week 1. All right, round number 10. Dolphins versus Manly. We're going to go the Dolphins to lose this game, even though it's at Suncorp, by 26 to 10. So Manly really starting to hit some form. Panthers Bulldogs. We'll go a tight-ish game, but in the end, it is the Panthers that get the win. Eels Broncos. I'd love to say Parramatta win this. I'm going to say Eels 14, Broncos 20. West Tigers versus the Newcastle Knights at Tamworth as well. Let's go the Knights here. Let's go the Knights to win 20 points to 6. Dragons versus South Sydney. It's a tough game to pick, man. Oh, man, this is a tough one to pick. Let's go the Dragons 16, the Rabbitohs 26. I reckon the Rabbitohs might get that one. Melbourne Storm versus the Cronulla Sharks at Amy. This will be a great game. I'm going to say this will be a 2-point game. I'm going to say that the Sharks win 18 to 16. Bang. Cronulla are on a roll right now. Sydney Roosters versus New Zealand Warriors at Allianz. Let's go with the Roosters to win a decent one. Let's go 30 points to 16 in favour of the Roosters there. Titans and the Cowboys. We will go with the Cowboys to win a closer game than people think. 22 to 16 at Cbus. Raiders and the Bulldogs. This is Magic Round. Okay, so I'm going to take the Raiders because they always play well at Magic Round, but I think that their attack will struggle. Let's go with the Raiders by 2, 22 points to 20. Manly and the Broncos. Manly definitely hitting form, but Brisbane slightly better. Let's go Manly 18, Broncos 24, Titans versus the Newcastle Knights. Let's go the Titans to get a win, 28 points to 18 over Newcastle there. Sharks versus Roosters. Ooh. I don't think anyone will expect this. Let's go the Roosters by 10. Let's go Roosters there. Rabbitohs versus Cowboys. Rabbitohs coming off a nice win, but here they should struggle against a pretty solid Cowboys team. 26-10 there at Suncorp in favour of the Cows. The Warriors versus Penrith. Could be low scoring, this one, I feel like. I'm going to go with the Panthers to win 18 points to 10. Melbourne Storm versus Parramatta Eels. This could be a great game. I'm going to go with the Storm 16, the Parramatta Eels 24. I reckon we can get them at Magic Round there. West Tigers and the Dolphins. We're going to take the Dolphins by 6. No, we're going to go lower than that, actually. We're going to go 20-14 in favour of the Dolphins there. Moving on to round number 12, where we have the Bulldogs and the Dragons. Now, this is a tough one to pick as well. I am going to say that the Dragons win this one. I reckon the Dragons get the win 28-18. Cowboys versus the West Tigers. I'm going to say that, we saw big scores between these teams last year. I'm going to say the Cowboys here get a big score. The Cowboys to win 36 points to 14. 36-14. Manly versus the Melbourne Storm. At Four Pines Park, I'm going to go the Storm here. I'm going to go the Storm to win in a low-scoring one, 22 points to 14. Storm by 8 at Four Pines Park. Canberra versus the Roosters. I think that the Roosters win and win well here, even though it is in Canberra. Let's go with 30 points to 10. Panthers taking on the Sharks at Penrith. This will be a great game, but I think that the Panthers may find a way to win this one. 26 points to 14. 26-14 there. Rabbitohs versus Eels. It says unknown, but it is at Accor Stadium. I think this is a danger game. I'm going to go with Parramatta Eels to win by 7 points there. But don't get me wrong. I think the Rabbitohs are a massive chance of getting up Indigenous round this year. Brisbane Broncos versus Titans. I think the Broncos do a job here. I think the Broncos win 38 points to 14. Then you've got Warriors versus Dolphins there in New Zealand. I'm going to take the Warriors to win in a defense-based match. We don't see them these days much, but let's go the Warriors to win 16 points to 10 over there in New Zealand. Now it's the Parramatta Eels taking on the Cronulla Sharks at CommBank, and I am actually going to take the Sharks to win here. I'm going to take the Sharks to win 28 points to 16, a 12-point win, a 12-point loss at home for the Eels there. Newcastle Knights versus Canterbury Bulldogs. I am going to take the Bulldogs here. They had a good win against the Knights. Now they go on the road. Vengeful story begins. We're going to go with the Bulldogs by 10 there at Newcastle. Panthers versus Dragons. Now, this could be Origin, which makes it really interesting. But even then, if it is Origin, I think that the Panthers should be too good for the Dragons there. Dolphins versus Raiders at Dolphins Stadium. I'm going to go with the Canberra Raiders here. I'm going to go the Canberra Raiders to win this one. We're going to go with a scoreline of 13 points to 12 in favour of the Canberra Raiders there. And the Roosters and the Cowboys finish the round off at Allianz in a Magic Round rematch. And we are going to take the Roosters to win. The Roosters to win 28 points to 12. The Cowboys often struggle in Sydney. Dragons versus Tigers. Now, the Dragons beat the Tigers earlier this season. This game's at win. They're rolling at win. We are going to take the Dragons to win 32 points to 6 in that one. Titans versus Rabbitohs. Tough game to predict. Really tough game to predict. And I'm going to say that the Titans get the chocolates here. Titans to win 26 points to 20. 6-point win. Cowboys versus Warriors. I'm going to go with the... Am I? I don't know here. I don't know this one. I don't know. I'm going to say that the Cowboys win 18 points to 12. This will be a very close one, but I think that the Cowboys will get this win. Then you've got Broncos versus Sharks. Broncos should win this one. I'm going to go the Broncos to win 22 points to 12. Little bit of a reality check for the Sharks. Storm versus Newcastle. Storm should win and win well, especially without Ponga. Storm to win 36 points to 10 at Melbourne. Panthers versus Sea Eagle. This could be a cracking game for a lot of reasons. It's just hard to read this origin period, isn't it? You know what? Let's go Manly here. Let's go Manly. Let's go Manly to win 24-18. Manly by 6. Manly to win. Eels versus Bulldogs at a core. I mean, we have a good record against the Dogs, but I'll go the Eels by 2. No confidence at all there. 24-22, high-scoring one. They just sneak away with the win. Yeah, that's a big danger game, that one. Round 15. Should we have a look at the ladder so far? Let's have a look. So it is the Broncos, Storm, Penrith Panthers, Sharks, Manly, Roosters, Cowboys, and the Canberra Raiders making up the top 8 at the moment. South Sydney and the West Tigers battling it out at the moment for the wooden spoon. The Knights and the Titans not far behind. And the Dolphins and the Dragons sitting just outside of the top 8. As we move into round number 15, where it will be the Sharks taking on the Dolphins at home. We will go with the Sharks to win this game. Let's go 28 points to 16 in favour of the Sharks there. The Raiders and the Cowboys, we will take the Cowboys to scrape a win in Canberra, 24 points to 16. South Sydney versus the Brisbane Broncos at a core. Let's go the Broncos to win a very tight match here. Let's go with the 24-20. We've seen the Rabbitohs put up plenty of points in losses. Tigers versus Titans at Leichhardt. Tigers play well at Leichhardt, don't they? I'm going to go the Titans. I'm going to go the Titans to get this one. I'm going to go with the Titans 22 to the Tigers 16. 6-point win. Gold Coast upset. Warriors versus Storm in New Zealand. Oh, man. This will be a good game. I'm going to go... I don't think the Warriors are playing good football right now. I don't. I'm going to go Melbourne by 1. I'm going to go Melbourne by 1. 18-19 there. Melbourne by 1. Eels versus Roosters at CommBank. We will have Mitchell Moses back. Origin kind of period. Could take some Roosters out. I'm going to say we get them. I'm going to say we get them 26 points to 16 in favour of the Parramatta Eels there. Manly Sea Eagles versus St. George Illawarra Dragons from Four Pines Park. Dragons beat the Manly Sea Eagles at home very early in the round, but Manly are starting to click. Manly win 30 points to 16 against the Dragons. Knights versus Penrith Panthers at Newcastle. Don't really care because I think the Panthers win 28 points to 10. 28-10 there. Dolphins versus Melbourne Storm, and this is at Suncorp Stadium. So I'm going to say, the Storm play really good at Suncorp. They're due a loss probably, but I'll go the Melbourne Storm to win this one. 26 points to 14. Closer, but Storm still get the win. Titans and the Warriors at Cbus Super Stadium. This is in June, so it is around that origin period. I think the Wars beat the Titans. A bit of revenge there. I think it will be a very close game. Let's go with the Warriors to win 21 points to 20. Roosters and Bulldogs up here on the Central Coast. I think that the Roosters should win this game, but it seems like a danger game for me for the Bulldogs. I'm going to take the Bulldogs. I have a feeling the Bulldogs will win this one. I'm going to go the Bulldogs to win 22 points to 12. I reckon they'll win well, actually. I reckon the Bulldogs will get an ambush there at Industry Group Stadium. Rabbits versus Manly. Rabbits are absolutely desperate for a win, and I reckon they'll get it. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs here, 18-14 against the Sea Eagles. I'm going to go an upset for the ages. Rabbitohs beat Manly. West Tigers versus Raiders at Campbelltown. I can't take the Tigers at Campbelltown. Can I? Against the Raiders, who are struggling. Tigers win. Tigers win. Tigers win 16 points to 6. Weird game, but yeah, Tigers finally get that win they've been hunting for at Campbelltown in round number 16. Moving on to round number 17, it's the Bulldogs and the Sharks. We are going to take the Sharks to win, and I think that the Sharks could win very well here. We're going to take the Sharks to win 36 points to 16. Warriors Broncos, we're going to take the Warriors at home 28 points to 14. I think they get a nice win there during the origin period as well. Knights versus Parramatta Eels. Let's go with the Eels to win 28-22. Weird New South Wales Cup kind of score. Raiders heading to Amy Park where they have a good record against the Storm, but the Storm get the win, and the Storm should win well. Let's go with the Storm to win 46 points to 14. Dragons versus the Dolphins at Kogarah. I think that the Dolphins put in a big fight here, but the Dragons seem to run away with it. 24 points to 12. Panthers versus Cowboys. Cowboys put in a massive fight the other night against the Panthers, but the Panthers should be looking hot at this time of year. Cowboys 10, Panthers 34. Roosters, Tigers at Allianz. Tigers coming off a win, but the Roosters absolutely wrecking them. Let's go with the Roosters here. 52 points to 6. And no, that's not a joke. Eels versus Rabbitohs at CommBank. Let's go with the Eels to win this one. 24 points to 16. 8-point win. Sharks versus Titans from Coffs Harbour. I really like what the Sharks are doing. I'm going to go the Sharkies here. 28 points to... I reckon this will be a tough outing for the Gold Coast Titans. I don't know why. I'm actually going to go 28-0. I'm going to go 28-0. 28-0. I reckon the Titans, round 18, coming off a bye, won't expect what's coming. Broncos versus Panthers. Broncos will want this one. They'll want to win at least one grand final rematch this year. This will be close. I'm going to go the Panthers to win 20-16. Bulldogs versus Warriors at Accor Stadium. I'm going to take the Bulldogs here. I'm going to take the Bulldogs to win 24-18 at home against the Wars. Storm versus Tigers. Tigers coming off conceding 50. They've got to be way better. They score 30. The Storm score 26. Cowboys versus the Manly Sea Eagles. I'm going to take... It's a tough one. This is a really tough one, actually. I'm going to take Manly here. Manly 26 to the Cowboys 16. Roosters, Dragons. Well, man, the Dragons will want revenge for what was done to them on Anzac Day at this very stadium. Roosters cooking. Roosters win 30 points to 18. 12-point win. Raiders versus Newcastle Knights. We are going to take the Raiders here. I'm going to go the Raiders. 28 to the Knights 14. 13-plus win for the Raiders. Shall we have another look at the ladder? So it is the West Tigers moving into last position. Just behind them is the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They have scored more points than the Tigers in 4, though. Melbourne Storm on top of the ladder, tied with the Panthers and about 40 points separating them. Sharks and Broncos making up the top 4. Parramatta Eels in the top 8 in that final spot at the moment. Knocking on the door is the Bulldogs, Dragons, and Canberra Raiders. Warriors dropping off a little bit as well, and the Titans have moved from 16th into 14th. Let's continue. So, next up is round number 19. It is the Dolphins taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. In this match, I'm going to say that the Rabbitohs get the win, 26 points to 20. No, actually, I'm going to change this here. I reckon the Dolphins win, 22 to 16. I reckon the Dolphins get that win at home. They've played good, and they should have a lot of their injured players back by then. Sharks versus Tigers. This could get really ugly. I'm going to go 38 points to 12 in favour of the Sharks. They are a good team this year. Titans versus Eels. I'm going to go with the Titans 12, the Parramatta Eels 22. 22 to 12. I should be at that game as well. Broncos versus the Dragons. We are going to take... I'm thinking an upset here. The Dragons knocking on the door of the top 8. They'd love nothing more to win this one. I'm going to do it. Let's go an upset. Let's go with the Dragons 24 to the Broncos 18. And the last game of that round, we'll see Manly Sea Eagles versus the Newcastle Knights at Four Pines Park. I reckon the Knights will give it to them, but I think that Manly will win 22 points to 14. Round 20, we start with the Raiders and the Warriors at GIO. We're going to go with the Warriors to win and probably win quite well. Warriors 32, 14 to the Raiders there. Rabbits versus Tigers on the Central Coast. Tough game to get a read on. I think the Rabbitohs win this one, and I think they get a good win. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs to win 30 to 16 against the Tigers there. Knights versus Brisbane Broncos. Broncos coming off a loss. Now they go to Newcastle and they bounce back 32 points to 6 in a tough outing for the Newcastle Knights. Melbourne Storm versus Sydney Roosters. We're going to go a lopsided scoreline here, and we're going to go 19 points to 12 in favour of the Melbourne Storm at Amy Park. And they're sitting pretty on top of the ladder at the moment. Penrith Panthers versus the Dolphins. I think Penrith win 34 points to 6. Few blowouts this round. Manly versus the Titans. Manly 26. Titans 18. Cows and Dogs. We'll go the Cowboys here in a low-scoring matchup. 22-16 there in favour of the Cows. I think the Dogs are a massive chance of an upset in round number 20 there. Warriors versus the West Tigers. 6 more rounds to go, and that will decide our ladder. Warriors versus Tigers. I think the Warriors win 34 points to 4. Eels versus Storm at CommBank. I'm going to go the Storm here. I'm going to go the Storm to win 28 points to 16. Broncos versus Bulldogs. Broncos to win 26 to 10. The Cowboys and the Sharks. Sharks to win by a field goal. Cowboys give it to them at home, but the Sharks sneak away with it. Roosters versus Sea Eagles. I'm going Manly here. I just have a feeling Manly will get really, really better and better as time goes on. So I'm going Manly by 10 at Allianz there. Dragons versus Penrith at WIN Stadium. This will be an interesting one. Penrith by 10. Dolphins versus the Titans at Suncorp. I'm going to go the Titans to win this one. No, we're going to go 28 points to 18. Titans by 10. Raiders versus Rabbitohs at GIO. Ooh. I think this is a game Souths are capable of winning. So I'm going to go Souths. I'm going to go Souths 20 points to 14. South Sydney win. Round 22. Tigers, Cowboys at Leichhardt. Deja vu for the Cowboys. Let's go with the Tigers 12, the Cowboys 26. Bit of revenge there at Leichhardt. Warriors versus Eels. I think we can win over there in Go Media. I really do. And I'm going to take us. Eels win by 8. Dolphins versus Roosters at Perth. I'm going to go... I'm thinking Dolphins here. I'm going to go Roosters by 2, but don't be surprised if the Dolphins get up there at Perth in round 22. Titans versus the Brisbane Broncos. I'm going to go the Broncos here in a very close game. I'm going to go 26-22. Storm versus Dragons at Amy. This could be really, really ugly, I think. I'll go 42 points to 6. Sharks versus Rabbitohs. That also could get really ugly at PointsBet. I'll go 38 to 18. Panthers versus Knights. These just have ugly games written all over them, don't they? Let's go 36 points to 0. Let's go 0. Knights to get 0 in that game. Bulldogs versus Canberra Raiders at Belmore. Ooh, I like this one. I like what the doggies are doing at the moment. I'm going to go the doggies. Doggies to get the win at Belmore. So we'll update the ladder. West Tigers at the bottom of the ladder. Knights nearly in that wooden spoon territory. Titans and Rabbitohs starting to kick away from the wooden spoon. Top 4 is Storm, Panthers, Sharks, Manly. Roosters in 8th spot, and the Warriors just outside the 8 by 2 games as we get into the last couple rounds. So here we go. Last couple rounds of rugby league for the year. And we're starting from round number 23. And we won't have a look at our ladder until the final round, which will obviously decide it all. Rabbits versus Storm. Let's go with Rabbits 10, Melbourne Storm 28. Titans versus Sharks. We will go with the Titans to win. Why am I doing this? I think they were kept to nil by the Sharks. Let's go the Titans to win an upset there, 28-16. Titans upset. Eels versus Panthers at CommBank. Oh, man. This could be a cracker. I think we have a play style that troubles Penrith. So I'm going to take us. I'm going to take the Eels by 4 points there. Raiders versus Sea Eagles. We're going to take the Sea Eagles to get the win. 24 points to 10, even though it is in Canberra. Cowboys and the Broncos to play out a Broncos win by 12. Dragons versus Bulldogs. Tough one. Really tough one, actually. Let's go the Dragons just to win this one. Same score as that Panthers-Eels game. Dolphins versus the Wars. I think the Wars get the win at Suncorp. Wars 22, Dolphins 4. Embarrassing performance by the Dolphins there in round 23. Knights versus West Tigers. We're going to go the Tigers to get a much-needed win here. The Tigers 20, the Knights 14. Panthers and the Storm. Ooh, this will be good. I'm going to take Penrith at home. Penrith to win 22-16. Manly versus Warriors. Manly by 4. Roosters versus Eels. I think this could get ugly. 30-8. Dogs versus Dolphins. I think the Dogs win and win well here off the back of a Dolphins collapse. Cowboys, Raiders. God, the Raiders need a win, don't they? Cowboys 18, Raiders 10. Tigers, South Sydney. Souths win this. They probably avoid the spoon. I think they win it. Dragons, Titans at Wollongong. I'll go the Dragons to win. 24 points to 18. Sharks, Newcastle at Cronulla. Sharks to win. 30-6. Tigers, Manly at Leichhardt. I reckon the Tigers win this. I reckon the Tigers win that. I'm going to go the Tigers. I reckon it's an off day for the Sea Eagles and the 8-point win to the Tigers. Upset. One of the upsets of the year. Warriors versus Dogs in New Zealand. Going to go... Oh, man. I'm going to go Dogs. Am I? I'm going to go Dogs. I'm going to go Dogs to win in New Zealand. 26-18. Same score, but in reverse. Broncos versus Eels at Suncorp. I will go with the Broncos there. 24 points to 16. Raiders versus Panthers. I think Penrith win, but I think it's a close game. I'll go Penrith to win 20-18. I think the Raiders getting really desperate in the back half of the year here. Storm versus Dolphins. 26 points to 8. This Dolphins collapse is ridiculous, but I think it'll happen in the last couple rounds. Rabbitohs versus Knights. At a core. You're going to go Newcastle to get one on the road. They're going to have their star-studded players back. Knights 13+. Titans versus Roosters. Roosters get a big win here. 44 points to 12. Dragons versus Sharks. I think the Dragons are fighting for a top 8 spot. So this will hurt them. But I think the Sharks will win 20 to 12. And that'll stop them from playing final. Well, let's have a look at the ladder, and then we'll do the last 2 rounds. So the Storm's still on top with the Panthers hot on their tail. There is a 50-point differential thanks to that Rabbitohs game earlier in the year. Sharks also knocking on the door of a minor premiership. The Broncos in the top 4. Parramatta Eels just in the top 8, 2 games to go. Bulldogs knocking on the door of a top 8 berth. Dragons knocking on the door, and the Warriors in 11th. Tigers and Knights battling it out for the spoon. South Sydney, the Titans, and the Dolphins still in the race. The Raiders look to have avoided the spoon, which is interesting because I thought they had dropped off. And the Dolphins in 13th off a collapse. All right, 2 rounds to go. Let's decide the NRL finals. So it's the Cowboys and the Melbourne Storm. And we're going to take the Melbourne Storm to win here. 24 points to 12. The Dogs and the Sea Eagles. We're going to take... It's at a core, but I reckon Manly win this. I'm going to go Manly. I'm going to go Manly to win well, actually. I think Manly win well. Panthers, Rabbitohs. Penrith will be too good here. Penrith 42, South Sydney 16. Eels versus the Dragons at CommBank. I think the Eels will win a closer encounter than people think. 22 to 18. Dolphins versus the Broncos. I'll go the Broncos 32. The Dolphins 22. No, that's too much. 32 to 16. Sharks versus Waz. I think the Waz absolutely need this win to try and get into the finals. Can they get it, though? Yeah, I reckon they can. Waz by a point. Knights versus Gold Coast. Knights probably looking to avoid the spoon here. I feel like they can beat the Titans. We'll go 8 points there. I think the Knights win, which will probably secure the West Tigers with the wooden spoon this year. Again, Roosters versus Raiders. Roosters win and probably win quite well, 28 to 10. All right, final round, round 27. Broncos versus Melbourne Storm at Suncorp. I'm going to go the Broncos to win this one by 6. West Tigers versus the Parramatta Eels. I think the Eels win, but I think it's a close game. So 26 to 18. Rabbits versus Roosters. Roosters win 30 points to 16. Dragons versus the Raiders. I actually don't know. I think oh man, it's the Dragons' last game at home. Surely they can get this win, but I think the Raiders win this. You know what? I reckon the Raiders win this. Raiders 26, Dragons 20, 6-point win. I reckon the Canberra Raiders get that one. Dogs, Cowboys at a core. I reckon the Dogs win. 28-18. Panthers, Titans, 3 games left in the season. This will decide our ladder. Panthers going to be resting their players, but they will still be too good for the Gold Coast Titans, 24 to 18. Manly Sea Eagles versus the Sharks. Could be some rested players here. I'll go Sharks, just. I'll go Sharks by 8. And the last game of the year sees the Knights versus the Dolphins. And I think that the Knights get a scrappy win there. So here we go. That is every scoreline for the NRL in 2024, all the remaining rounds. And here is the top 8. In first place, it is the Penrith Panthers claiming another minor premiership. In second place, it is the Melbourne Storm knocking on the door. Third, it is the surprise packet of the year, the Cronulla Sharks in third position. Fourth, it is the Brisbane Broncos. 2 games between these, and obviously the draw seems to have helped them quite a bit. It is the Manly Sea Eagles in 5th. 6th is the Sydney Roosters, 15-9. 7th is the Parramatta Eels with 14 wins and 10 losses. Currently sitting, I think, about 13th. But there we go. I do have us in the top 8. I thought I had us out, but yeah, apparently I've got us there with minus 40. So interesting. 8th is the North Queensland Cowboys with 13 wins and 11 losses. Just having a look at teams against here, and obviously the against of the Bronco is quite poor. The against of the Parramatta Eels is quite poor as well. Just missing out on the top 8 by a 2-game, crucial game. Warriors and the Bulldogs and Wars missing out in the top 8 by 3 games. The Dragons in 11th. A lot of people expected them to be down here. West Tigers, unfortunately, picking up another wooden spoon. Very close to the spoon is the South Sydney Rabbitohs with what looks like the highest against of the year with 667. So, man, that's pretty bad there. Points against, but obviously 416 for. The best scoring team looks to be the Storm. No, the Roosters, 644. Roosters, the highest scoring team of the year, conceding 408. Dolphins, bottom 4. Titans, bottom 4. Rabbits, Tigers, but there you go. So, yeah, that's my top 8 based on the ladder predictor. Ton of fun. If you want to screenshot and go through all the results here, you can do that now. But, yeah, went for, obviously, 42 minutes, guys. So, quite a long video, but that's every game of the 2024 season. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I'll see you guys for my tipping video.